Imagine a man who faced death multiple times, who worked in brutal conditions during the Nazi occupation, survived an assassination attempt, and still forgave his attacker, a man who changed the course of history, breaking down the walls of communism and inspiring millions to live with faith, courage, and love. You know his face, his voice, his gentle but unwavering call to be not afraid. But do you know the full story of St. John Paul II? Stay with me, you don't want to miss this.
Welcome to Saint Stories.
This episode of Faith Explorations is sponsored by our lovely Christian office neighbor Sharon. She offers express makeup services starting from just $150. Perfect for special events, professional photo shoots, or even a quick glow up. Her service is fast, efficient, and tailored to enhance your natural beauty. Here's my before and after. What a transformation! Check out her work on Instagram at Sharon_meow and code Faith Explorations for 20% off your first service with her. Karol Józef Wojtyła was born on May 18, 1920, in Wadowice, Poland. The youngest of 3 children, but from the start his life was marked by suffering. His older sister died before he was born. His mother passed away when he was just 9. By the time he was 12, he lost his beloved older brother Edmund, a doctor who died after contracting scarlet fever from a patient. And at 21, his last remaining family member, his father, died in his sleep. He was alone in the world, but instead of despair, Karol found refuge in faith. My father's example was, in a way, my first seminary, he later recalled. Every tragedy deepened his faith in God, setting him on a path he never expected. Karol dreamed of becoming an actor. He studied literature and theatre at Jagiellonian University. But in 1939, the Nazi invasion of Poland shattered those dreams. The university was shut down and professors were sent to concentration camps. To survive, Karol worked as a laborer in a stone quarry and a chemical factory. But it was during those dark years that something even deeper was at work: his call to priesthood. In secret, he studied in an underground seminary run by the Archbishop of Krakow. The Gestapo hunted down priests, and studying for the priesthood was dangerous. If caught, he would be executed. Yet, in 1944, a miraculous escape changed everything. One night, he was hit by a German truck and left unconscious. Typically, the Nazis sent injured civilians to labor camps, but Karol was taken to a hospital instead. He later said, "That accident changed my life." Because on that very night, the Gestapo raided his seminary. Every seminarian was arrested, except him. It was as if God was saying, "Not yet." In 1948, Karol was ordained a priest. He spent years working with students, hiking and kayaking with them, showing that holiness wasn't distant. It was real, joyful, and deeply human. But Poland's suffering wasn't over. The Nazis were gone, but Soviet communism took their place. The regime tried to suppress the church, but Father Karol fought back, not with weapons, but with truth. As a young bishop, he started outdoor masses when communists refused to allow new churches to be built. He fearlessly taught about the dignity of the human person, and his leadership inspired people to resist oppression peacefully. By 1967, he was a cardinal, and his influence extended beyond Poland. But no one could have predicted what happened next. On October 16, 1978, the unthinkable happened. A Polish cardinal was elected pope, the first non-Italian pope in over 450 years. When he stepped into the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he looked at the crowd and said words that would echo throughout history. "Do not be afraid. Open wide the doors for Christ." And the world listened. Pope John Paul II became a pope of the people. He traveled more than any pope before him, 129 countries, speaking to millions. He established the World Youth Day, bringing young people together to experience the church as alive and joyful. He reached out to other religions, visiting mosques and synagogues, and worked towards peace between nations. But not everyone loved him. On May 13, 1981, as he greeted pilgrims in St. Peter's Square, gunshots rang out. A Turkish assassin, Mehmet Ali, fired 4 bullets. The Pope collapsed, bleeding, as the crowd screamed. He was rushed to surgery, barely surviving. But what did he do after his surgery? He forgave his attacker. 2 years later, John Paul II visited Mehmet Ali in prison. The world watched as the Pope held the hands of the man who tried to kill him. That moment defined his legacy, not revenge, but mercy. Through his unwavering support for freedom, John Paul II played a pivotal role in the fall of communism. His visit to Poland in 1979 sparked revolution. When he told the people, "You are not who they say you are. Let the Spirit descend and renew the face of the earth." That ignited the Solidarity movement, a peaceful revolution that led to the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of Soviet rule. Even as his health declined, suffering from Parkinson's disease, he remained a beacon of hope. His final years were marked by profound suffering, yet he continued to preach, to teach, to love. On April 2, 2005, as the world kept vigil outside his window, he whispered his final words, "Let me go to the house of the Father." And with that, he returned to God. The outpouring of love was unprecedented. Millions flooded Rome for his funeral. The crowd chanted, "Sancto subito!" Saint now. And just 9 years later, in 2014, he was canonized. So why was John Paul II so beloved? Because he showed us what it means to live without fear, to live with everything we have, to forgive the unforgivable. His life was proof that holiness isn't distant, it is possible, here and now. And perhaps the greatest lesson he left us is this: the future starts today, not tomorrow. Before we end, did you know that he had an extraordinary sensitivity to Christ's presence in the Blessed Sacrament? There are stories of him walking into a building and, without being told, immediately knew where the Eucharist was. He would turn towards it even if it was hidden in a distant chapel or behind closed doors. It was as if his soul would sense Jesus waiting for him. As a young seminarian, he risked his life attending underground masses in Nazi-occupied Poland. Later, as a priest, bishop, and pope, he spent hours in adoration, often lost in prayer, face to face with his Eucharistic Lord. His love for the Eucharist shaped everything he did. He once said, "In the Eucharist, we have Jesus. We have his sacrifice. We have his resurrection. We have the gift of the Holy Spirit. We have adoration, obedience, and love." This deep devotion wasn't just something he preached, it was how he lived his life. If you enjoyed this story about St. John Paul II and want to see more inspiring Catholic content, please support our mission. Like and share this episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the Faith Explorations YouTube channel. Your support helps us to continue creating faith-filled stories that inspire and deepen our love for Christ. Thank you and God bless. If you're wondering where I was recording, this is San Tamino Franciscan Center. Watch our episodes with Friar Gerald. Bye.